What I want to do for a few minutes here, I want to share with you my clinical experience with the mangosteen. And I'm going to tell you what I observe. I'm not going to tell you things that makes you get excited. I know it's too easy to stand up here and hype stuff and blow it out of proportion. And I have actually met doctors that are doing mangosteen that I don't care what disease you name, they'll go, oh yeah, I've treated at least 50 of those. And I've cured all of them with the mangosteen. I don't get those kind of results. We get great results, but I'm going to tell you what I observe and how we're using it in our clinic. You know, to me, it's about prevention as much as it is about treating disease. We've become a very sick nation. And I'll give you an example. There was a research project recently done at Harvard University in the last year, and they have decided that the American people have lost about 25% of their immune system in the last 2 decades. And they've also shown in their research that we've lost about 25% of the nutritional value of our food in the last 2 decades. Isn't that a strange correlation? And we have to ask ourselves why. Because we're on such a fast track that we're not paying attention to the things that are really true to us and really is going to make this country a great country, greater, or even maintain what we have, and it's going to be tough to do with what's going on today. There was also a research project where they took 87 newborn babies, they collected the umbilical cords. They had the Red Cross to collect the umbilical cords of 87 newborn babies. And when they examined the umbilical cords, they found an average of 200 toxic chemicals per umbilical cord. And they identified the chemicals as household chemicals that's used in the house, to debris coming off of the burning of city dumps. And 60% of those are carcinogenic, cancer-forming. Cancer is up. Diabetes is up, 41% in the last 7 years. All the inflammatory diseases. We now rank, as citizens of the world, America now ranks 25th in the world, in industrialized nations, 25th in health. We spent a couple $1 trillion a year on health. We wrote over 2 billion prescriptions last year, and more prescriptions are being written. And I just don't, in my gut, I don't feel that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't think we should be using that much medication. Now, there's something wrong with our whole system when we spend that kind of money on health, and we're looking at the little newborns bathed in heavy toxic metals. They found that the 4 toxic metals that these umbilical cords possessed, number 1 was methylmercury, number 2 was lead, number 3 was cadmium, and number 4 was arsenic, and we're bathed in it. And when you look at what these heavy metals do, they destroy our immune system by damaging the nervous system. And here's something that's going on today. Some of the world's top geneticists they state that in the next 50, 60 years, there probably will not be any baby boys born. And when you look at the chromosomes, most of the chromosomes today are really, they're converting over to girls. We start off as girls, we really convert over to boys at some point in time. But when you're looking at the mechanism today and how it's been damaged by the mercury and the lead that's in our environment, you can see why we're having problems with the conversion of these mechanisms. And when you look at, oftentimes when you look at situations where a woman is trying to start a family and they can't conceive, and then we go and we examine the sperm cells, of course, of the men. You know what the sperm cells look like? It looks like an egg looks like a tadpole. And when you look at that little tail on that tadpole, it's been at a 45-degree right angle. That's mercury poisoning. That's how much is in our environment today. So we're really having a negative effect on our health, our future generations. The mangosteen juice is a wonderful thing. It does so many wonderful things for us. But it also draws people like you into a room where you can listen to people like me and give you some tidbits of information on how to change your lifestyle, because it really is about lifestyle. If you come to my clinic, one of the things I try to talk everybody into is this. I work with a couple of the best radiologists in the world. One is a board-certified neuroradiologist, and the other is a board-certified musculoskeletal radiologist. When we sit you down and talk to you, we try to talk to you about your lifestyle. We get into your physical, your emotional, your spiritual, because we are made up of all those components. And we find that a lot of problems that people have are physical problems, manifestations of emotional problems. We're all we're on a fast track. We're all trying to obtain all the materialistic things in the world. There's a lot of pressure on people today, especially women. When you look at what women are having to go through today compared to 50, 60 years ago, 50 years ago they got to stay home and take care of the kids. Today they have to be a mother, a wife, a taxi cab driver. They have an outside job, maybe two. Everybody's stressed. The number one complaint when you go look at any doctor's form that you fill out, it'll be something relating to stress. Stress is a killer. Stress is just what's eliminating our immune system, as well as the heavy toxic metals. So we're confronted with a lot of things, not only physical things in our environment. We're confronted so much with the emotional stress, and it's killing people. 25% of all the little children have cardiovascular disease today. And they tell us that if we don't solve that problem in the next 25 years, that alone will bankrupt our country. So anyway, it's up to us to gain or gather the information or the knowledge and then share it with our kids and our grandkids. It's about information. It's about teaching people. I can remember in a remodeled Yankee Stadium, about 20 years ago or less, they had to widen the seats from, 18 inches to 22 because the average American post terrier has grown that much. So we are becoming a very obese nation, and our food is so loaded with the sugars and everything else. Then on top of that, companies come out with sugars like, what are some of the bad ones? Aspartame. Which one? Splenda. Yeah, those aren't meant to be consumed. That's what you kill rats with. You know, if you're going to eat sugar, you better eat some real sugar. Some of these sugars that we're pumping into kids today is creating ADD, autism. 1 out of every 160-some kids has autism. ADD. We didn't have ADD 40 years ago. We didn't have those problems. Why are we having so much today? I can remember about 10 years ago when my wife and I, we were living in Missouri. I would go down a couple days a week down into Arkansas, and I was doing some free work down there with children. And the first thing I noticed was down in the hills of Arkansas, 90% of the kids were on Ritalin. That was just kind of the thing to do. Remember when Ritalin was really popular and every kid was on Ritalin? We're destroying the kids with all of our drugs today. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against drugs. I write prescriptions all day long. I save lives with prescriptions. But it's overdone. It's overplayed. No one's talking to you about prevention. No one's talking to anybody about prevention. All of you that are 45 and older, you can remember when 40 years ago, milk, for example, had cream in it, didn't it? Had cream on the top. And then the first time you took a sip of 2% cream, remember they came out with 2% milk? Then later came out 1% milk. You'd spit it out and you go, oh, that tastes like water. That isn't good. Now it's reversed today. If you were to give a kid today a sip of milk like it used to be, well, it tastes like too rich. It almost tastes like butter to them. They'd spit it out. So it's what we become acclimated to. It's what we gradually accept. And we have gradually accepted a lifestyle with poor nutrition. The foods that we eat today are loaded with chemicals and nutrients, preservatives, and they're actually altering our DNA. It's just like seborrhea, psoriasis, eczema, skin conditions. And I'll bet there's a lot of people in here who have seen some dramatic results with skin conditions using the mangosteen juice. Have you not? Any hands? Yeah. If you really want to know if this mangosteen juice works or not, try to find somebody that has either eczema, seborrhea, or psoriasis. These are inborn errors of metabolism. These are DNA-damaged tissue cells, and you can't change the DNA. Now, we can change the expression of the